If you're planning to move to Nova Scotia in 2026, or more importantly, if you are already here on a work permit that is expiring soon, I need you to listen very carefully. The era of first come, first serve immigration in Nova Scotia is officially over. We have entered a new phase of managed migration. As of February 2026, the province is overhauling its entire system, consolidating streams, freezing specific sectors, and introducing strict new priorities. If you are a nurse or carpenter, you have a golden ticket. But if you work in food service, retail, or administration, you are now in what I call restricted zone, and your paths to permanent resident just got much steeper. In this video, I'm going to give you the practical strategy you need to navigate this new landscape. We will cover the new consolidated streams, specific Tier 1 and Tier 2 sectors that will actually get you nominated, and the exact pivot plan if you're currently working in a non-priority job. This is not just news, it's your action plan for 2026. Let's dive in. Before we get to the how, you need to understand the why. Nova Scotia is currently dealing with a massive inventory of applications. In 2025, they received far more applications than they had federal spots to approve. This has forced a shift from volume to value. The province is no longer trying to fill every job vacancy with a permanent residency candidate. They're now strictly rationing their limited nominations for the sectors that keep the province running: healthcare, housing, and infrastructure. That means simply being eligible for a stream is no longer enough. You can meet every single requirement on paper and still never be invited. In 2026, eligibility does not guarantee selection. You need to be strategic, not just eligible. Let's talk about machinery. On February the 5th, 2026, the province announced a massive modernization update. The headline is this: the Nova Scotia Nominee Program, or NSNP, is consolidating its 10 old streams into 4 streamlined categories to improve efficiency. While the official guideline for these new streams drops on February the 18th, the government has confirmed that the legacy programs like the physician stream and critical construction worker pilot will be absorbed into a massive consolidated skilled worker stream. Why does this matter to you? Because it confirms that Nova Scotia has fully adopted the expression of interest model for everything, including the Atlantic Immigration Program. There is no more applying directly. You enter a pool, you wait, and you only get picked if you fit the priority matrix that we're going to discuss. With the system changing on February the 18th, old forms and old advice are now dangerous. If you're confused about which new stream fits your profile, click the link below to book consultation. We can help you build a strategy that aligns with the new 2026 rules, not the old ones. So, who's actually getting picked from this pool? We have identified a Tier 1 priority list. If you work in these sectors, you are in the safest position possible. Priority 1, healthcare and social assistance. The province has explicitly stated that they will prioritize workers in this sector, especially those with expiring permits. Obviously, this includes nurses and doctors, but here's the insider detail. Prioritizing NAICS 62 means prioritizing the industry, not just the job title. This includes early childhood educators, or ECEs, working in daycares, because the daycares fall under social assistance. It can also include support staff. If you are a cook or a cleaner, but you are directly employed by a hospital or long-term care home, you are technically within a priority sector. This is a critical distinction from working in a restaurant. Priority 2. Construction. Nova Scotia needs housing. If you work in an AICS 23, you are a priority. This isn't just for red seal carpenters. It includes construction laborers with NOC 75110 and helpers. If your pay stub says construction, your application is moving to the top of the pile. Now, what if you don't work in health or construction? This is where the Atlantic Immigration Program becomes your lifeline. While the provincial NSMP is heavily restricted, the province has carved out specific Tier 2 exceptions that are primarily processed through the AIP. For 2026, Nova Scotia allows exceptions for processing applications from outside Canada or non-priority sectors if the employer is using the AIP to hire in trucking and transportation, science and technology, clean energy, and resource department. If you are a software developer or a transport driver, do not rely on the general provincial stream. You need to focus 100% of your energy on finding a designated AIP employer. That designation is the key that unlocks the processing for your sector. If you are in a priority sector, that is health or construction, don't get complacent. Here's your action plan. First, verify your employer's NAICS code. Ask your HR department or check their business registration. It must start with 62 for health or 23 for construction. If you are a nurse working for a private agency that is registered as a temp agency, which is NAICS 56, you might accidentally fall out of priority processing. Second, watch the expiry. The province has explicitly stated they are prioritizing work permits expiring in 2026. So ensure your EOI profile accurately reflects your expiry date. It's a major ranking factor this year. Now, for the hard reality check, we have to talk about the red zone. If you are working in accommodation and food services, which is NAICS 72, for example, as a food service supervisor, server, or counter attendant, you need to know that intake for your sector is effectively paused under the NSMP. Furthermore, the AIP has also paused job offers for food service supervisors specifically. If you're in the sector on a PGWP, you cannot wait this out. The backlog is too big, you need pivot strategy. If you're in the red zone, here's how you save your PR dream in 2026. As we discussed, the pause is often on the industry, not the job duties. So stop applying to restaurants. Start applying to hospitals, nursing homes, or universities for food services or cleaning roles. And the result? A cook in a restaurant is paused. A cook in a hospital might be priority. It's the same job, but completely different immigration results. If you have a strong back and a good work ethic, consider moving to construction. The barrier to entry is lower than becoming a licensed trade, but because it falls under NAICS 23, it is a priority pathway. I know changing jobs is scary, but losing your status is worse. If you need help identifying which occupations fall into these safe zones, book a consultation. We can look at your specific situation and map out a pivot strategy that will keep you in Canada. Finally, for those of you who are feeling stuck, there is one cheat code that bypasses almost all of these sector restrictions. While Nova Scotia has a labor market priority streams that can invite French speakers, the real power of French is at the federal level. The federal government has massive targets for Francophone immigration outside Quebec. If you can achieve an NCLC 7 in French, you then qualify for Federal Express Entry French draws. These draws have lower cutoff points and do not require a specific job offer sector. This is the ultimate backup plan. If Nova Scotia's doors close because of your job sector, the federal French door opens wide. I have dived deep into Express Entry on my channel previously, more specifically categorized-based draws. Make sure to check those videos out. Nova Scotia is still welcoming immigrants, but the door is no longer wide open for everyone. It is a precision system right now. Health and construction are the VIPs. Tech and trucking need the AIP. Food and retail need to pivot immediately, and I cannot stress this enough. Do not assume that being eligible means you will be selected. In 2026, those are two very different things. You need a strategy that aligns you with what the province needs today. If you are unsure about your NAICS code, your AIP eligibility, or how to execute that sector pivot, let us help. Click the link in the description to book a one-on-one consultation. Let's build a plan that keeps you in Canada.